What is freedom? That's the question that we're asking. And then how do we answer that? Well, the first thing I would say is holistically, in a way that includes mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. Freedom, to me, it includes nature's principles. It includes for you what's freedom for you, not what's freedom for others. We're going to explore that and we're going to use some living practices in order to bring greater clarity to it for you. I could explain to you what freedom is for me. I can give you a sense of what I feel when I experience freedom. And the best that I could do is give you a bit of a reflection so you can see what's right for you. Because you trying to take on freedom for yourself in a way that belongs to someone else isn't going to be freedom, is it? It's going to be an overlay. So no more masks, no more censoring. Let's explore this in a way that you understand where you're at, what freedom is for you, and then you now have a starting point to move towards greater freedom for yourself, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, and for your life. What is freedom? Gonna jump right in here. We don't have enough time to waste time today. So the questions are going to keep happening. And you are free to answer them or not, because that's freedom too, isn't it? When I started this journey, I wasn't free, but I didn't even know I wasn't free. I was caught in the surmisings, the beliefs, the ideas about what I thought life was, what it was. It was normal, right? I was dealing with all sorts of health issues. I was dealing with a whole bunch of little kids running around. I was dealing with all sorts of life issues. But in my head, I was going, oh heavens, like, what have I really got myself into here? Like, I never dreamed this. This isn't what I said I wanted. I don't feel any inspiration at all. How did I get myself here? Seriously, how did I get myself here? Was there depression? Probably. Was there anger? Absolutely. Was there frustration? Most of the time. But what did that do for me? It caused me to come to this question. What is freedom? So you all, not everybody here knows me, but I like to do interactive. So let's do it. The chat is open. What is freedom to you? Go ahead, fill it up for me. Show me what freedom means to you. Now I'm going to ask you to do one thing. See if instead of coming from your mind, you can come from your body. Let those ideas about what freedom are come to you instead of the mind locking you into some idea of what freedom is. Seeing peace of mind, spacious and unrestricted movement, no attachment, not holding ourselves to other people's standards, letting life flow and not getting in the way or controlling how it should look, no agenda, acting spontaneously. Does that mean not being censored? Vibrant health, no mental triggering of trauma. Got lots of responsibility. Okay, Ben, you've piqued my interest. Responsibility. Could there actually be freedom in responsibility? That feels juicy to me. So do the rest of these, but that one's not the answer that I normally get. But let's take a look at that for a minute. Because if I am totally responsible, Where am I coming from? Am I coming from that ego place, or am I coming from that greater energy that has the ability to animate me and live from that inspired place? I want to share what I think freedom is, and it's only because I've worked with thousands of people that I have kind of an idea. I don't think it will ever be set for me because I'm always refining. But freedom to me is all of this expressed because we've gotten the accumulation out of the way. So I show up here today and I show up as clear as I can absolutely be because I took responsibility to either work with someone or to work with some hopefully living processes that help me release all the accumulation out of the way so that this could show up in whatever way it's going to across the whole spectrum. If it's authentic, if it's not being censored, if it's happening out of the force, the energy that's moving through, that's animating this, could that be freedom? I don't know. In my experience, I would say yes, but I don't ever want you to take my word for it. I want you to prove it to yourself because my idea of freedom isn't going to be your idea of freedom. We could ask thousands of people what freedom was for them, and they would share something different, each one of them. There might be a golden thread that runs through quite a bit of it, but most individuals are going to have their own idea about what it is to be free for themselves. You know, some people may say, I'm free because I have unlimited finances. So that means I can do anything I want, right? Well, within reason. What about the law? Does the law factor into that? So it's not like freedom is any one aspect either, is it? It's all of the aspects coming together, but uncensored, that, wow, that's exciting to me. Why are we censored? Why do we censor ourselves? The short answer for me is fear. Fear of something. And to me, fear is not our truth. Fear is the accumulation that gets piled on time and time and time again. So, you know, when you're at the dentist and they put that big, heavy lead blanket on you, what is accumulation other than to protect you, other than it's like 10 of those lead blankets on you? Because some of us are very, very weighed down with our accumulation. Well, what happens if we release that accumulation? Was there freedom on the other side of that? Okay, but there might be some fear too, because we just released all those lead blankets that were set up at some point in our minds to protect us. Because we want to protect ourselves from fear or what we fear. So, freedom, what comes with freedom? That's my next question to throw in the chat. Once you get to freedom, what comes from it? Why? Why would you want freedom? Because once we know what it is, have we decided what we'd do with it? Any idea what you'd do with your freedom? Would you paint more pictures? Would you spend more time in nature? Would you help more people? Would you garden more? What has not being free stopped you from doing? It's another way to ask that question. I see it's more energy efficient. I see to be calm and happy. That's pretty exciting. Good question. What if we keep asking ourselves that question and it's allowed to evolve? Just curious. The work that I do is all about helping to release us from that accumulation. And the way that I do that is encourage everybody to come to curiosity. So the questions don't have to be answered like in a moment. We're not looking to be a good girl or a good boy in class or to answer a question in a way that we think is how it's meant to be answered. The witty, I love. Go for that if that's what comes really quickly, because it's fun. And yet, really, really getting curious means that I'm going to ask the question and then I'm going to allow the answer to come to me. And it might come in different ways at different times in my life or in different situations. But coming from that curiosity to me is opening up to the everything, which means that I have freedom of range. So I'm not accumulated to the point where I'm boxed in, where I only have this limited repertoire of pieces that can come into an answering mode. When I ask the question, what I'm doing is opening the box so that I can come from the whole range of me, even the range of me that I've hidden away to protect. So, would vulnerability be a part of freedom as well? Just curious, possibility, but I don't know what works for you. When I'm in that place of vulnerability and I have the ability to come from this place that says it's all available, all of it, then I'm in the unknown, aren't I? How many of you are comfortable in the unknown? Like not knowing what you're going to do today, not knowing what you're going to eat today, not knowing what life is going to bring you this year, not knowing. How many of you are comfortable? Both hands? Okay. Yeah, all 10 of them, all 10 of those fingers say yes, yes, yes. How many of you are comfortable being nobody? A little bit less, a little bit more. Okay, some of you not so much. What if freedom includes those things? So we're not refining it down yet, are we? We're just blowing the question out of the water. We're coming from all these different directions to ask this question so that what? So that we have a new space to come from when it comes to what freedom is. So my focus this year is being free to see everything that happens as divine reorganization instead of chaos. That's another level of freedom for me because I'm not interested in playing in the chaos. I'm interested in living from that amazing place where curiosity and vulnerability and all the accumulations dropping away so that I can go, oh, I wonder how this is going to reorganize. Instead of, holy crap, I need to hide under the blankets because there's so much chaos. No, I'm not willing to live that way because that's not free to me. So notice how I can use free and freedom in lots of different areas in lots of different places. Do you think there's a real defined way to look at freedom? Because we can look at it mentally, but what about emotionally and physically and spiritually? If we're going to go about this, let's do it holistically. Okay? Let's do it holistically. So, what does physical freedom look like? Does it look like jumping off the side of a cliff with the glider suit on without having done any prep or any learning? I don't know. So, freedom to you is your legs actually going for a walk without pain, climbing trees. Ooh, fun. Being free to do whatever you want when you want to do it. Okay, got it. Setting your own schedule. Ooh, that's physically free. Does it mean you eat whatever you want whenever you want? No? How come? How come? Do you have a whole bunch of food beliefs going on? Oh, does your body respond when you eat certain things or when you eat too much or that kind of thing? Okay, so we're not quite free, right? Or are we coming back to that place where it's about being responsible? Ooh. Or how about coming even one step further and coming back into nature's principles? Because doing whatever we want sometimes means that we're busy distracting ourselves, aren't we? And are you free to do that as well? Yeah, if you want to. But that distraction might increase the amount of accumulation you're carrying around. You're walking around, you got this whole bodysuit on, it's lead, there's 10 layers to it. Is that free? I'm free to if I want to, but chances are there's not going to be too many people that want to do that unless you're an extreme warrior type that wants to carry around hundreds of pounds every time they move so they get strong. I'm not judging that either, but that's not for most of us. So, freedom. What if freedom is again that ability to release accumulation in a way where we have the whole width and breadth of what's possible as a human being? The whole width and breadth, all the possibilities. Now, we might not choose them all, but what if freedom is having access to them all because we've released the accumulation? And again, if we come to freedom, what's possible? I don't know. When I'm looking at the chat and I see, can you eat anything you want if you're completely free? Is that what's right for you? Is that your version of free? It could be. It could very well be. But at this point, I would love to play with something. Ready? Can you imagine what it feels like in your body to recognize freedom? Maybe it's not the words. Can you think back in time or can you think about right now and recognize how it feels to be free, to experience freedom? What does that feel like in your body? Unfurling, being in accord with your spirit, play, feeling of spaciousness like being on a remote beach, relaxing. You're not sure you've ever felt free in your body. I so appreciate your honesty. Alive, a feeling of abundance. What does that feel like? Like if I was trying to explain what freedom felt like, how would I explain how that feels in the body? I love the words. Is there a way we can break it down a little bit more? There's another couple of you that are not sure if you've ever felt free in your bodies. Light. I like that. So we're talking about qualities. So, what are the qualities that you feel in your body when you recognize freedom? Safe, at home in the silence, pillowy. I love that. I had an experience the other day where I was like, "Ooh, I feel marshmallowy," like what I think a marshmallow would feel like. It was like, okay, a little bit of story, but there was some qualities in there too. There's a reason I use a living process, and it's called the freedom process. And the reason that I use the freedom process when I'm helping people is because it's about coming back to nature. It's coming back to what nature, how this body is designed. So we're not able to necessarily consciously, some of us can because we've spent a lot of time in the psychological or in the spiritual realm, but a lot of us can't go out and manipulate the energy really well yet. But what if we can play with this physicalness here and that can affect the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual? What does it look like for you to take a check in with your body right now? Notice whatever you notice. Is there any tension anywhere? Is there any pain anywhere? Is there a desire to get up or a desire to move or a desire for anything? What's going on? What qualities would you say are happening in your body? Is there any kind of anxiety or excitement happening? What's happening? Just for a check-in for you. And then I breathe. Okay, I'm going to encourage everyone to breathe, but not just breathe, but breathe into the sides of the body. I'm going to put my hands at my side and I'm going to push. If I'm not used to breathing into the sides of my body, I'm going to push in a little so that I meet my hands. And I'm going to push into the sides. I'm going to breathe through my nose. I'm going to slow down my breathing. But I'm going to keep breathing into my sides. Now, every single rib is meant to breathe by moving a little bit out and a little bit up. It's not this big, huge, your ribs are like this huge unit that just go expand and deflate. It's literally out and up with each rib independently. Now, most of us aren't used to breathing that way. So the body gets a little tight from accumulation. It shows up. Mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual accumulation shows in the physical body as tension somehow. Enough tension, you end up with dis-ease. Okay, so breathing into the sides of the body. Now, this brings us into a reset. It brings us into that place where we are working with our primal pulse, our head and our spine, like through that cranial sacral fluid. And it takes us out of fight, flight, or freeze. How many of you think fight, flight, or freeze are your natural way of being? No, that's projected at us from outside of us. It's programmed to us from individuals that are bringing the past into the present moment. But fear, the flight, fight, or freeze, those are not who we truly are. They're available to us, but most of us are spending all our time in that. So what happens if we come back to principle of nature where we breathe in our bodies the way we're meant to? Now, if you do that with me for just a few minutes, not even just a few breaths, you can keep your eyes open or closed. I encourage you to close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing that because it does bring down the identity personality piece. But I keep breathing into my sides. Now, once we've done that a few times, you can keep your eyes open or closed, but check in with your body. Has it adjusted at all? Has it shifted? Are the same things there? Or is there something different going on? Does it feel like you want to hurry back to how you used to breathe? Or can you sense that this is something that could cause what we call homeostatic reorganization? Because this is how our bodies are meant to breathe. A sense of calmness and clarity. Did anybody not have it shift at all? No? Shift a little bit of some sort? Okay. Not everybody's video is on, so feel free to, pop in the chat if nothing changed whatsoever for you with a different breath. And I know I'm jumping it around a little bit here, but I want to bring it all back together in just a few minutes. If we go back to principles of nature, what happens is we have that range. we have that breadth and depth of relationship that we can play with ourselves. And then we can reflect it out to others. Your idea of freedom is going to be different than mine, but breathing into the sides of my body is a huge piece of being free. When I come back to using the body how it's designed to be used, because I'm not just the body, am I? Because just being stuck in the body wouldn't be free to me either. I hope it wouldn't be free to you, but if it is, I'm not going to judge. But I'm the body as well. I am the body as well. I'm not going to jump into the spiritual and say that's all I am because I show up, right? And I see you in your bodies and you see me in my body. So there must be something there. If nothing else, a point of reference for us. So in this moment, I'm breathing into my sides. Do I want to do that all the time to begin with? No. Because if I'm not used to doing that, it's going to cause my body to start releasing too quickly. And it's going to cause me to be really uncomfortable. And I'm probably going to train myself out of it. But what if I just start doing that and I bring that in, say every hour for a few minutes until my body has released enough of the stuck energy that I'm now, wow, noticing a few weeks later that my body is breathing into the sides almost all the time on its own. I didn't even have to focus on that. Just a little tiny practical piece coming back to nature in order to what? Open us up so that we're more available for what freedom is. We can tap into the mental, emotional, and spiritual by playing with the body. I have a really good friend who wrote me out a little note, and it says, the body is the playground for freedom. So I can play with the body because I can get my hands on it, right? That can affect all the rest of me because I'm a whole being. I'm a divine whole being, actually. So how exciting is that? We're here. We're ready to be free. Is everybody ready to be free? How can we be free if we don't know where we're at? Like, okay, say free is the Redwoods, a park in California. But I don't know where I am. I don't know whether I'm north or south of it. I don't know whether I'm east. Well, probably east, otherwise I'm on the ocean, but I could be, over in Japan or over in Hawaii, so I could be west of it. But if I don't know how or where I am, how am I going to get to the redwoods in California? So when we ask the question, what is freedom? Aren't we starting to pin down where we're at? Because if you know what freedom is, you now have something to compare it with, right? This is freedom, but I'm definitely not feeling that. So now you know where you're at and you have a sense of where you want to go. Now you can put in place some steps to take to get you to what you believe freedom is. But what if you don't ask yourself the question? Most of us are used to not asking the question because we're just used to living life, in habitual ways based on the accumulation that we have going. Now, guess what the first step I say is in getting from where you are to the freedom that you believe is possible or the way you believe freedom to be? It's getting rid of accumulation. Do I really want to go from where I am to the redwoods in California by dragging those 10 lead blankets, plus a whole bunch of pianos tied to my ass all the way to California? It might take me my whole life. I may never get there because it's too much. But what if I cut off those pianos and then I start dropping those lead blankets? How easy is it going to be for me to get to the redwoods in California? Okay, we're talking about the freedom actually, but The redwoods in California sound fun to me. I would like to go visit them. I haven't seen them in a long time. But this freedom piece, you can carry as many lead blankets with you as you want. You're going to. But if you can gradually recognize how fear has caused that accumulation and the accumulation lets go of you, wouldn't that allow you to be in freedom more? I don't know about you, but I don't think they're going to let you on a plane if you actually have literal pianos tied to your butt. And most of us walk around with those energetic pianos tied to our butts all the time, along with all the layers of lead blankets. So we let go of the pianos, we drop. Honestly, it isn't about dropping the lead blankets because as we release the accumulation, using the freedom process or using other processes that are living, the lead blankets, they just fall off. They let go of us. You ready? Isn't that, doesn't that sound fun or does it sound scary to you? I enjoy it. I enjoy kind of freaking myself out a little bit by dropping accumulation or by having accumulation drop me. But it does leave me in the unknown. And the unknown to me is it's coming outside that box and not really being sure what's going to come at me. Not really sure what life is going to bring me. Don't really know. But can I be aware that by releasing the accumulation, I can work with reorganization instead of seeing it as chaos, right? Because a lot of us create boxes that are quite tight around us so that we don't feel we're in chaos. But what if it's up to us to see it differently? It's pretty tough when you've got all that accumulation. But as you drop the accumulation, you have more range, you have more ability to see it differently. And that's the goal. I'm just coming back to the chat here. I know, funny image having a piano tied to your ass. More words for how you use accumulation. Energetic weight from patterns in the past that we have been habit, so habitual. That's an absolutely fantastic question because what is accumulation? You all help me with this, okay? Because I could go off and off and off and talk forever and ever, but what is accumulation to you? Right? Because I know what it is to me. Yes, I know baggage is safe and yet it's a real pain. So density is accumulation. Victim mentality is accumulation. Emotions that aren't processed are accumulation. Beliefs, thoughts, unexpressed emotions, stuckness, body pain, fears, clutter, patterns, just a word for saying, are patterns just a word for saying stories? Honestly, yes, that's what patterns are created from. Beliefs or thoughts that become stories that are habitually shared that become pattern. So yes, I would say patterns, stories are accumulation. All the shit we hold on to, even if we don't, yep. Some of our accumulation we're aware of and some we're not, right? Do you think you have accumulation in your body or in your life, mentally, emotionally, physically, or spiritually? Okay, I see some hands. Do you know how we know? This is the easiest answer I can give from my experience in the somatic world. You have tension in your body, whether you know it or not, you have accumulation. Accumulation shows up in our physical bodies. You ever go to hug somebody and they're so tight, they feel like they have about this much space from the surface of the skin to the bones? That's serious tension. Okay. You ever hug somebody that has a little more, say, substance, fluff, but they tell you what's going on in their body and their organs are not happy and their joints are unhappy and all of that? That's serious tension too. It's not just one direction or the other. That's all tension. All that we hold on to, identities being accumulation, emotions that aren't thought, uh, yes, confusion, density, conditioning, identities that create roles in life and habitual emotional reaction. Absolutely. Negative beliefs, physical clutter. Yes, some absolutely. Yep, yep, yep. Okay, you've all recognized where that tension is. Do you see it in your body? Do you recognize the tension in your body? And you might say yes or no. Most of us are so used to a certain level of tension, we're not even aware it's tension anymore. That's what I mean. How can we get to relaxed if we don't even recognize we're tense? How can we get to freedom if we don't know what it is and we don't recognize or we don't pay attention or we don't take a look at where we're not in alignment with what we think freedom is? Unconsciousness. Yeah, that creates a ton of accumulation. Things that we hold on to that aren't serving us. Freedom is waking up as fresh, clean slate every day. Whew, I can feel that one. Okay, we've got unexamined beliefs. Enculturation. Ooh, I like that one. That's fun. Misaligned thinking, false premises, unexamined beliefs. Your ankles have tension, Seth? Yeah, I get it. I really get it. Our biology is changing right now with the speed of the energies. We're probably having a lot of tension because we're not in alignment with what is happening now. We're still playing with the old energies. So I know standing slouched can feel comfy and standing straight aligned feels odd. So this is the exact example of what I'm saying. Most of us are used to not being free and not even knowing it because we've been that for so long. But as soon as we question it, guess what happens? And you might be cussing me later, but you start recognizing that you're not free and it causes discomfort. Now you're becoming aware of that discomfort. Now, what are you supposed to do with it? Well, I want to share the freedom process with you because we can release that tension through our physical bodies. Okay. We just did the personal reset retreat this weekend, and another piece came through because I tell everybody this. I don't I don't prep a lot for the intensives that I show up for. My goal is to get as much agenda out of the way, to have some overriding container pieces, but for to get out of the way, for this to get out of the way as much as possible so that it can be available for what we're doing, for answering questions, for asking questions, for bringing it together in a way that might be of service. And so when we did the retreat this weekend, I was really surprised because a piece came in, and some of you have already played with it with me, where it was about expansion of our energy, where we're not really trying to be separate anymore, or we're now recognizing that we're not separate. So as we do this, we're doing it together and we're doing it for each other. And we're taking it into that space in a way that hopefully we get to release some of these pieces that might be causing us tension, that might cause us to be out of alignment with our idea of freedom. You can have your eyes opened or closed. It's up to you. Again, I encourage you to close your eyes when you first start playing with this so that you're not distracted by your identity, the identity that's around you, the identity that you think you are. Source energy comes in through your head. It fills in behind your face. It envelopes everything within, comes down through your throat, through your voice, comes into your chest, fills your arms, fills your abdominal area. It totally wraps around your spine, comes down into your hips, down into your upper legs, down into your lower legs, down into your feet, and then it comes out your feet. It goes through everything until it gets to the earth, and then it goes all the way to the center of the earth. It hangs out there for a little bit, playing, really nummy energy there. And then it bounces back, it comes through the earth, through everything else under your feet, up through your feet, up through your lower legs, up through your upper legs, through your hips, in through your abdomen, and meets the energy from above at the point of your heart. Now those energies come together as above, so below. And that energy is playing. And it's a radiant energy, your inner sun. And it radiates out in every direction. Know that your imagination can be part of this if you're not feeling it to begin with, but it radiates out bigger than you, bigger than the building you're in, bigger than your town, city, bigger than your state, province, bigger than your country, bigger than the earth. Are you breathing into your sides still? Because we want to breathe into our sides while we do this. You can use your hands for reference if you'd like or not. Now you're radiating out bigger than the earth. And those rays in every direction are burning up anything that you would like to put in those rays, any fears, any old accumulation, anything known or unknown in those rays to be de-storied, where the story collapses, where the story falls away and it gets burnt up and washes away and the energy is transformed. And now it's available for you to be creative as well. So we not only have these rays for burning up those things that no longer serve us, that stop us from being free, but we have these rays that's creative to come back to dreaming, to come back to what would we like to create in our new world. We put it in those rays and it has the ability to fill that out. But can you feel the fullness in you with this breath and these rays? Can you feel the potential? Can you ask what's possible? And you keep breathing into your sides and you keep imagining those rays expanded bigger than the earth. If you want, you can go bigger. If that feels like too much, you can bring it back down again. Bring it a little tighter to you, a little closer. But see what you can do when you expand those rays out. Now I want you to think of one thing in the last couple days that's caused you tension. Put it in those rays where it can be de-storied, it can be burnt up, it can be washed away, and it can be transformed so that the energy is then back available for you. Can you think of another thing, known or unknown, that's caused you tension? Put it in those rays. Let it be de-storied. Let it be burnt up. Let it be washed away and transformed. Now again, that energy is available to you. So what would happen if you think of something that you would like to come into your life, right? What we see as reality, what we see as solid, that's the past. Yeah, we're playing with it. But this energy swirling around you in these rays and within you, what's one thing that you would like to have more of in your life, or you would like something to show up that hasn't yet? Keep breathing in your sides. Allow those rays to be of a creative force that gives life to that which you're inspired, that which you desire, that which you are looking to bring into the world. It could be something that you're looking to let go of in the world. Keep breathing into your sides, the way that you're meant to breathe so that you're not in fight or flight or freeze. Some of you that may take a little practice. Keep expanding. See if you can expand those rays out a little bit more, knowing that source energy doesn't have a limitation. It's unlimited. So it doesn't matter how much you need to come into you to play with that heart center, but it can expand out bigger than the galaxy. And that we're all doing this together. And then you open your eyes and you let the energy be where it is. Let it be as expanded as it feels comfortable to be. And then you check in with your body. What are you feeling in your body after having done this? What are you noticing? Does your breath feel a little easier or something else? Because I can't know. It's your body. I see expansion. I see spacious. Heat. More space. Quiet. Tired. That's okay. Bubbly feeling. Relief and excitement. Ease. What if I told you that this is yours to use anytime you want? It doesn't belong to me. I do use it to intensify things to hopefully help you release that accumulation quite a bit faster. But what if this was just something that we brought into our lives as a way of being more free? Hopefully, we've established that fight, flight, or freeze is not free. So, if nothing else, just using a little bit of breath into the sides of our body, it bringing us out of that fight, flight, or freeze allows us to move a little closer to what we think freedom is from where we are. Just that. Could it be that simple? What if it is that simple? What if that could shift so much in the world that causes us tension, or so much inside of ourselves that causes tension? Because it's as above, below, and as within, without, or outside of ourselves. Well, what if this is one of the things that we can use that can become a natural piece that allows us to live in greater alignment? Because to me, that's a big piece of freedom. We could refine it down, 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 down. Again, I like freedom to be a range. I like freedom to me having access to as many possibilities as possible. That to me is freedom. I don't necessarily mean physical, where I go everywhere and I do everything. That could be part of it. But this range where in the nothing is everything, and I can play with all of those pieces through me. Yeah, that's exactly it. Sometimes I'm going to bring it up so that I can keep breathing. Because most of us are trained what? Suppress, avoid, get away from. No, I want you to go vulnerable. I want you to open it up to the degree that is sovereign for you and breathe. Let it move through. It might move around. You might notice other things. It might shift. You might need to intensify in order to really get into it. Keep breathing. Notice your breath while you're still paying attention to your body. You notice that we're not going into our head other than if we need to. We're staying in our bodies where we have so much more access to releasing accumulation. We also have to deal with the misaligned thinking that causes the accumulation, but We're staying in our bodies as much as possible. We have to know where we're at in order to go where we want to go. So sometimes we have to get really honest about how big, how much accumulation is there. Heat, shaking, burping, tooting, laughing, yawning. Those are all signs that energy's moving. Gurgling in your belly, getting cold. Those are all signs that energy is moving. Now, does it mean the tension is going to be gone today? It could be. Depends on how long you work with releasing the accumulation. But it could also mean that it just creates a little space because there's find it, which is where do you feel it in your body? There's feel it. What qualities does it take on? And then there's free it. Can you breathe into the sides while you're paying attention to what's happening in your body? Hopefully, you get good at expanding out your energy at the same time. But then there's allow it. Allow it is not where we put our hands on. We've created space by freeing it. So now nature reorganizes it. Nature is the one that goes into homeostasis. Nature is the one that heals it. We're nature. So that's where that comes from. I'll keep breathing, not give yourself a break, go back to breathing, bring the energy of that feeling up again, intensify it a little, more breathing, break, whatever it takes, but keep coming back to it until you can't find it anymore. Sometimes we've got 50, 60, 150, 350,000, a millennia of accumulation that we've brought into this so that we can clear it because it's for us. The breathing takes the top off the pressurized bottle of fizzy water and then allows the bubble to just naturally move up. So the accumulation, when you take a little pressure off and the reorganization starts happening, the more accumulation will come up and you get to release that too. Or it will just come up and it will release on its own because that's part of the allow aspect of the freedom process. So this is how I do it. You get to do it the way you want, but I'm going to share one of the really effective ways that I've found to recognize where I'm at. Okay. So I just state it outright. I'm fearful. Show me how I do that. And as soon as I do that, what happens? The answer comes. It shows me life gets in my face and says, you're fearful over here. And oh, by the way, did you know you were fearful over here? And hey, how about this fear right here? Or how about this agenda that you're trying to play so that you have control? Guess what? Look underneath that and see where the fear is. What do I do? Soon as I recognize that fear, I put it in the sun rays. I notice where I feel it in my body. I breathe into the sides of my body. And I get to release all the energy that's related to that fear, or at least some of it, enough to create space so that nature can reorganize. I'll do that with everything. Freedom to me is I'm a control freak. Show me how I do it. I'm using it to recognize where I feel hurt. That's another saying that I've been playing with quite a bit. You cannot heal where you do not admit or recognize the hurt. So if we're always trying to hide those hurts, how can we actually do anything with them? So I'll state, I'm a victim. Show me how I do that. I'm an aggressor. Show me how I do that. Whatever it is that somebody's told me I've been, I'm an abuser. Show me how I do that. I'm a sugar coater. Show me how I do that. Okay. I'm an avoider. Show me how I do that. I want to see the goods so that I can release those pieces. Because I'm looking to release the accumulation, but I'm also looking to release the misaligned thinking because the misaligned thinking is a little bit like well, it's not. It's a parasite. It's been projected onto us. If we think about a parasite physically, physical parasites, if we believe in those, actually create accumulation. So if the thinking is that too, it creates accumulation. So we get rid of the parasite, the misaligned thinking, but we also have to deal with the accumulation that's come from that misaligned thinking. And I do this all the time with individuals in the physical world when they're dealing with their health. We help them get rid of their accumulation, but we have to get rid of what's creating the accumulation in the first place. Otherwise, it's just going to build back up again. And if you get rid of the parasite, the misaligned thinking, without dealing with the accumulation, you're still not going to feel better because it was the accumulation that was causing issues in the first place. So we want to deal with both. That to me is freedom. I want to be empty. I want to be completely available for the whole range of things. So I use those statements, whether I feel I'm avoiding, show me how I do that, or I'm an avoider, show me how I do that. I say it all the time. I'm a liar. Show me how I do that. I'm a people pleaser. Show me how I do that. I feel I'm people pleasing. Show me how I do that. If you want to go that way, it is softer. It's okay. However you want to do it. It's your
Right.
freedom you're looking at or working towards, not my freedom. All fears and that are known and unknown, we can put in that sun. We can breathe. We can notice where we feel it in our bodies, and it can be burned up, washed away, and transformed after it's been destoried. De-story. What does that mean? It means I've collapsed all of this, all the excuses, all the reasons that that makes sense, all the ideas and details that I've piled on top of that fear. So I'm de-storing it, transforming it. That's how powerful we are. It doesn't have to be a year or a lifetime of processing to release these things. We can do it quite quickly, which to me is exciting. The breath is a huge piece of that as well. So we're using the breath to bring ourselves to the freedom that is holistic, mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical. I heard some energy around not being financially free at this time, not having financial freedom. Do you all want to play with that? We're coming into a really unstable time in our world that is just divine reorganization. And what about having more financial freedom? If financial freedom doesn't appeal to you, you can look at freedom in another aspect of your life. There's a whole bunch of aspects there. You can use whatever you want. But what if we look at that? I don't have financial freedom. I'm not financially free at this time. Show me how I do that. It's time to be done blaming anything outside of ourselves. Bring it home. Show me how I am avoiding financial freedom, fearful of financial freedom, and let's do it. Let's just do it. Let's all together expand out the sun. Source energy comes through your head, fills your face, your neck, your chest, your abdomen, your legs, feet, down through the earth to the center of the earth. It bounces back, it comes up through legs, abdomen to the heart, radiating. The sun's radiating bigger than I am, bigger than my building, bigger than my city, bigger than my town, bigger than my state, my province, my country, the earth. Okay, so now my rays, I'm full on present. I'm expanded out, breathing into the sides. What does it feel like in your body to have fear around not having enough money? Breathing, still expanded. What does it feel like? Where do you feel like it in your body? What qualities does it take on? Keep breathing, keep expanding. Now, all the fears that are associated with you not being financially free, with not having financial freedom, all fears, known and unknown, in that space, de-story, burn up, wash away, and it's transformed. Now, what about the other side of it? being financially free, having lots of finances. If you didn't have fear, you would have that if it's your desire. So, all the fears, unknown and known, about having financial freedom, notice where you feel that in your body. Breathe into the sides. All those fears, known and unknown, around financial freedom and having it, having more than enough, put it in those rays for it to be destoried, burnt up, washed away, and transformed. What if every fear that comes up, whether you don't have financial freedom, your fear of not having enough, or your fear of having enough? What if every single fear you put in those rays to de-story, burn up, wash away, and be transformed so you have that energy back to be creative with? All of them. All the fears you know of, all the fears you don't know of around financial freedom in the rays, de-story, burn up, wash away, and it's transformed. Now fill it back up with what it feels like, what it looks like, what you would like when it comes to financial freedom. The energy has been transformed, it's available. Let it be a part of bringing that into the now, bringing financial freedom into the now, because what we're experiencing is the past. But all that energy that's swirling around you and within you has the ability to be played with so that when it comes into the reality, what we think of as solid, you've been playing with, you've taken mastery, you've been responsible for. See it coming in the rays, in your space. Breathing into the sides, allowing any other fears that come up, known or unknown, to also be destoried, burned up, washed away, and transformed. Now that there's even more energy available for you to fulfill financial freedom in your reality. Breathing, noticing where you feel it in your body. Just keep breathing. Can you expand out even further? All the fears about having lots of finances and not being able to access them. De-story, burn up, wash away, and it is transformed. Now that energy is available for you to create what you would like. Is everybody expanded still? Breathing into your sides, anywhere where you feel you don't deserve financial freedom, known or unknown. Put it in those rays, de-story it, burn it up, wash it away, and it is transformed. Anywhere where you felt you needed to be punished because you weren't financially free, known or unknown, put it in the rays, de-story, burn it up, wash it away, and it is transformed. Keep breathing into the side. Anywhere you felt you needed to control yourself in order to attain financial freedom, known or unknown, put into that space, de-story, burn up, wash away, and it is transformed. Keep breathing. Let the energy move through you. Energy is not supposed to be stagnant. It's not supposed to be stored. Notice even when you have batteries and they've been hanging around for a few years, are they still good? No. Energy moves. It moves. It transforms. It's meant to. So anywhere that you feel that others have been in the way of you being financially free, de-story, burn up, wash away, and it is transformed. Now come back to that space and see what it feels like if those are burnt up, if that energy is transformed. Feel what it feels like in your body to no longer punish, but to experience the creativeness of financial freedom. We're creating here. Those rays are not just about transformation, they're about creating. Feel it, breathe it, transform it, and now you have it back to use in a different way. So what do you notice now? What do you notice now in your body? Go ahead and share in the chat, or if somebody wants to share, I'm happy to hear that. Naked, exposed, vulnerable. That sounds pretty open to me. If you have the accumulation of fear in the way, how do you suppose you're going to live uncensored when it comes to financial freedom or sexual freedom? In my experience, a process that we're all going through where we're using money from a place of love instead of using money from a place of fear. And there's that transition period. So what does it look like for abundant money to be in your world from a place of love? Because that's what you don't want to go back to, right? You don't want to go back to that world where money is about fear and control and making sure that you're safe and on and on and on, right?
Right.
So what does it feel like? Imagine yourself having abundant financials and just letting money be exactly what it is. It doesn't have any meaning unless you give it. So what if love is represented by money instead of money representing control or fear or any of those things? What if whenever you receive money, you see it as like a big heart just radiating sunshine? It doesn't mean it's always going to show up physically, but how do we stop bringing the past into the present? We have to quit focusing on that it's not here, because that's the physical reality. That's the hard, what we think of as real. It's like, no, I'm no longer going to be controlled by the past. I'm going to pop into the energy of that circulating around me and in me that's a representative of the next moment, that's a representative of what's going to come into play. That's where we play. We got to get ourselves unstuck out of the past and quit bringing the past into the present or the future. Again, the more accumulation we get rid of, the easier it is to see when we do that. But what if we're aware of it now and we're paying attention to it? Okay, in this moment, I have no money. That's a hard cash truth, whatever. Okay. Do I need it in this moment? That's another question to ask. What's freedom? Freedom is asking questions so that you can get the goods. Now, okay, I don't have money in this moment, so the past didn't include financial freedom. But what about the next moment? Do I want to play with financial freedom coming into the next moment when the next energy starts showing up as physically? Tap into that energy. Full on. We're taking up our space. We're filling ourselves back in with the rays of what? Source, nature, what we are. Love it. When we're so far away from nature and nature's principle, it takes us a little while to recognize it again. And it's okay. It really is okay. If you're just willing to explore a little and come back into, where am I not free? And what do I think freedom is? You're going to open it up for you to have things to play with. There's no choice. You can't go back. When you see you're not free, you can't unsee it. Be aware of how deep you look. Are you ready? Yeah. That's why I always say, for whatever intensives or retreats that I offer, make sure you're following your feet. Because I really don't want you to go into something that it's not time for you. You have to know what's right for you and what's not right for you. We're coming from a real sovereign place here. Okay. That's where responsibility comes in when it comes to freedom. We're doing this. We're the creative masters. We're kicking out fear, which has been an unwanted guest. And we're saying, no, we're taking up that space. That's our space. We don't dream. We don't create when we're in fear. So fear to me does not equal freedom. And most of us are running around with so many fears in us. How creative are we really being? But what if we start dreaming bigger than what we think is possible physically? And we fill our rays with that after we've let go of some of the fears, after we've burned up and transformed those fears, after we've dropped or the story has dropped us around those fears. What if it's not the identity of us that's going to bring that in? What if it's the truth of us? I am saying that money doesn't have to be anything more than what you give it meaning around. And that can change from one moment to the next. It really is just an exchange of energy. I'm using money to exchange or to promote or to give to or to create something in that moment. So it's just it's a symbol of energetic exchange. So what if I told you health is underneath everything else? The health that you think you would like is available. It's already there. It's just the accumulation that's over it that's stopping you from experiencing it. What if I said financial freedom, financial abundance, unlimited financial abundance is already there? It's already in you. It's already coming through you, but it's the accumulation that's in the way of it expressing. Is it possible? Huh. I'm interested in checking it out and seeing how it shows up. Why not? What if the love that you desire is already there? And the only thing you have to do is recognize what's in the way of it and let it let you go. Wouldn't that be freedom? You feeling freer yet? Or are you just feeling all riled up? We've got a little bit of riled up. We got a little bit of freedom, maybe a little of both. Maybe it's all over the place, and that's okay too. What's next? So what do? We find it, we feel it, we free it, and we allow it. Hands off at the allow point. And if you create a container, which is the sun and all those rays that go out in all those directions, those things can happen that much more efficiently and effectively. Here's a question, real quick. Has your idea of freedom shifted in the last couple hours? Do you think that will make a difference to what you see in your world around you? Yeah, why wouldn't it, right? That's all we can do. We can just keep opening ourselves up to refine our idea of freedom and to recognize when we're not free and bridge the gap. Does it have to be complicated? No. Find it. Feel it. Feel the qualities that Find it means look for it. Where do you feel it in your body? Known or unknown? Where's the tension in your body? Feel it. What qualities does it take on? Free it. Breathe into the sides of your body. Bring yourself out of fight, flight, or freeze. And I would encourage you to do that with everything in your life because that's how we're designed to breathe. And then allow it. You've created space with freeing it. So now allow it to reorganize around your center for you. And I really like creating that sun as a container for that. Because then my energy is very much in that place of reorganizing, divine reorganizing. Because what did I do? I created those rays to be bigger than the earth. So that means that I'm connecting with everything on the earth. How do I change the world? By changing me. And then it reflects out in those rays and it affects everything because we're not separate, right? That's a whole other intensive, but it took me a long time to come to this point. So if you know my history, some of you do, some of you don't. I wasn't free at all. But you know what I did? I took my gifts and I looked for the golden threads that work through all those pieces that I was trying to use. I was so overloaded with processes and modalities and techniques and on and on and on. I was searching hard. I quit searching and I recognized the golden threads. And then guess what happened? I got free to the degree I am. Again, I don't think freedom is a set point. I think it's something that we continue to refine throughout our lifetime and maybe beyond. I don't know. But I'm free to the degree I am today because I dropped all those modalities and techniques and all of that that weren't aligned with nature. All I look for now is living process that is in alignment with nature, that is going to be taken on as a part of who I am because I'm nature. And then I'm not fighting anymore. I'm not at war trying to willpower or trying to make it a certain way because I just use living processes. Source energy coming through the head, through the crown of your head, filling up in your head, around your nervous system, around your spine, around filling your throat, coming into your chest, down into your arms, filling your abdomen, filling your hips, coming down through your legs, upper, lower, through your feet, down into the earth. That energy is playing with the center of the earth. It's kind of a fun energy. It's very supportive. It bounces back up. It comes through your feet, your legs, your hips, your abdomen, and it meets the energy from up above in your heart. Those energies play together and they radiate. You radiate out from that place in your heart, wider than you, all directions. And then those rays come out wider, bigger than the building, expand them further than the city or the town you live in, bigger than the province or the state you live in, bigger than the country, bigger than the earth. Now, while you're doing that, while that energy is expanded out, you're feeling the tension in your body. Where is it? You're finding it. Then you're feeling it. You're feeling the qualities of what you're feeling, where you're feeling it in your body. And then you're freeing it by breathing into the sides, staying out of fight, flight, or freeze. Now, all the fears that you have about not being free, all the fears known and unknown, put it in that space, in those rays. Destory the fears. Burn them up, wash them away, they're transformed. And all the fears you have, known and unknown, around being free, put it in that space, de-story it, burn it up, wash it away. It's transformed. We're going to do that again. Check your energy, expand it as great as the earth or greater. Breathing in the sides. Notice where you feel it in your body. Notice the qualities. Breathing into the sides. All fears that you have, unknown or known, in not getting free, not being free, put them in those rays for them to be de-storied, burned up, washed away, and transformed. And all those fears that you have of being free and what that will mean, all the fears known and unknown of what it means to be free or being free, put them in those rays for them to be de-storied, burned up, washed away, and transformed. Breathing into your sides, noticing your body. Now, in those rays, there's all this energy that's available. What is it? What does freedom look like to you? What would you like to see come into your life that represents freedom? What pieces, what pieces of that freedom show up in that space? What does that feel like in your body? Keep breathing. Let it move all through you. Mm. Now we're going to play a little bit with this. Remember that how your body is meant to breathe is the efforting of the breath is the out breath. So see if you can really squeeze when you breathe out. And then pause. See if you can breathe out some more. Now let it relax. Notice what happens with your breath. That's divine life force coming into this physical body without effort. Again, breathing out, a little pause, breathe out some more, breathe out some more, and then relax. The breath on the in, it's yours, it's free, it's ease. And you let your expanded energy be where it sits and you bring it back in. You open your eyes and you look around you and you recognize that that's the past, but you've just superpowered what's coming in because you gave it energy. You transformed the fears, and that energy that was released from those fears now is powering your now, your freedom. Yep, I'm hyped about it. That's exciting to me. I don't want you to be completely settled. I want it to be stable because this process, it will continue. It will continue to reorganize for, it can be happen now, but it will reorganize for days, maybe months. That's okay, right? We've created space so that that reorganizing can happen around center. whatever that can look like for you. Now, what happens if it doesn't show up, that thing that you saw in those sun rays? It might not be time. It might be so that you can see where you have fear of that coming in still. Use the process. Go back. Free up that energy for powering what it is that you're bringing in. Your energy expanded still? You're breathing? There's one more thing that I just want to play with in that space where you think you need to figure it out. So all the places where you think you need to figure it out because you have fear about it not happening, or you have fear about it not working out right, or you have fear. So all those places that you feel you need to figure it out, destory it, burn it up, wash it away, and allow it to transform. Because you, from a physical perspective, do you think that you have the ability to bring things in like Source does? You're playing one instrument right here. You're the instrument. This is an instrument. But Source is the whole orchestra. We're talking orchestra big time. Okay? So Source has the ability to play with all these instruments to bring in the pieces that you desire. You're not gonna get the sound of a violin from a trumpet. Okay, I'm not saying you're a trumpet, but that's kind of a funny visual. You're not a trumpet, but you're your instrument, and Source is moving through you, and Source has access to all of it. Now, as soon as you expand into everything, don't you have access to all of it too? No more thinking you have to figure it out because it's so limited. Okay, but allow yourself to be open to what is available to you. Okay, so what do we do now? Do we keep asking the question, what is freedom? Yeah, yeah, we do. Put it up on your mirror or have it come up on your smartphone or your computer, or have a friend, you know, text you and ask you that every once in a while, or do that for one another. Why would we keep asking the same question? Doesn't that seem kind of redundant? No, it means you're going to tap into what else might be possible. What else might freedom be to you? It doesn't mean you have to answer it from your head, but you keep allowing those questions, the answers to come up to you, to meet the question. So you just keep asking the question, what is freedom? Okay, well, I have an understanding of freedom at this point. So how do I get more? How do I step myself across from where I am to what I think freedom is? I already gave you the tools. You have them freely given forevermore for the rest of your life. So what if you want to go faster? That's what I'm here for. What if you're stuck? That's what I'm here for. What if you like doing it in a group because of the power of that? All these conscious minds coming together. Well, again, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to draw us together in a way that we're all working at, who's not going to want to have help getting rid of those fears out of their house if they could or need help. That's what I'm here for. So that's why we do what we do with Holistic Weaver. That's why the team is available for to put things together. And there's been so much come out in the last few months. I get it if you're overwhelmed, but I do encourage you to join the membership. You can find it in the newsletter. If you haven't signed up for the newsletter, you just go to holisticweaver.com. If you get one newsletter, you're going to find that there's two links at the bottom. One is to sign up for the free membership area where I'm going to keep putting, where the team is going to keep putting fresh pieces to play with. It's freely given. And then the other one is for a forum. It's for where we talk. Instead of being on places that are censored, we talk in this forum instead. So it's the Holistic Weaver gathering space. Get into the forum because that's where we share what we're doing. Get into the membership area and take advantage of those free resources, okay? So that if you want to do more, it's available to you. I want to help you. And I have to just state this because I think it gets lost. I'm not the individual that gathers up so many people that I don't know them. I don't do that. I would rather work with you from the beginning of your path to the end of your path and support you along the way than work with 100 people just to get them on the path. So I'm not looking to just get everybody on the path. Some people are going to do that and they're going to take this information and they're going to run with it. But what I am is there to support you along the path wherever you feel like you would like support in whatever way that I can, fulfill. Some things I just can't do. I can't do it for you. But that's how I like to work. So that's why I'm going to keep doing these freedoms, the what is freedom piece in as many versions as possible. I can't wait to see you on the path somewhere. And I want to play with people like you. Is there anything better? I want to be surrounded by all individuals that want to be free, not just want it, but that are doing it. Because wanting actually, honestly, leads to more wanting. But those that are getting free, that are expressing freedom, that aren't censoring, what a hoot. Let's do it. Let's do more of it. And let's gather more and more people up so that we have some really fun people to play with, not just online, but locally too. Right? I want all my friends to be free. So thanks for being my friends that are getting free. Let's keep having fun, okay?